Welcome back. I'm Lou Wieland, and we're sitting here with the mayor of Johns Creek, Mayor Mike Bodker, and it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. And again, congratulations for all of your successes and as mayor for the last 11 years, and the prime mover behind the incorporation of the city. And certainly admire the work that you've done over there. I know that you're a big believer in planning. You're an accountant background. So I know you're very concerned with details. So tell us a little bit about the plan going forward. I know you have like a 5-year plan and even a 10-year plan.
We do, but the focus for me is whatever the priorities of the council are, and I think I can articulate those priorities pretty easily. First and foremost, we want to improve our transportation system while protecting the residential quality of our city. So we're going to be very focused on carefully walking down the path with our citizens to plan these road improvement projects that we called for through the TSPOS funding. And what we want to do is find ways to reduce the traffic within our city, get people to move from point A to point B more safely and more swiftly, but do it in a way that protects the beauty and quality of our city. Number two, we want to focus on making sure that we implement this Parks Bond projects. Again, carefully balancing the needs of those who live closest to the new parks and those who come from across the city to utilize those parks. And that just means balancing passive and active uses in a meaningful way so that we make a difference, but we don't overrun the local area that lives right there next to one of these parks. And we have 5 new parks to implement, as I said earlier. We've got 3 pocket parks, a linear park in Tech Park, and then we have almost a massive park there on the Chattahoochee River in the Shake Rag area. The next priority is to work with our citizens, as we have been for over a year, to finish our comp plan update. Our comprehensive land use plan is a very important document. It sort of guides all future zoning decisions. And we've had a hard-working group of citizens, a recommending body, working to draft up a comp plan that would be presented to the Planning Commission, eventually to the Council, which would represent our guide for the next 10 years of movement within Johns Creek development, as you could say. And I'm very proud of the work they've done so far. Seemingly, the direction it's headed in is to protect the residential areas of our city, to designate a few areas within the city that might redevelop over a long period of time, and to find a way for them to redevelop in the context of recognizing that we are primarily a residential community. So that's the comp plan. And the final thing that the council is always focused on is making sure that we remain on sound fiscal footing. We would have never received that double AAA set of bond ratings had we not been doing the right things for the last 11 years, and if we don't do the right things for the next 11 years. And so the council is very focused on our 10-year financial forecast. We actually look out 10 years, and we take every decision we make and we model it to make sure that not only do we understand the short-term impact, but what is that decision going to look like 11 years out combined with all the other decisions we've made. And so we want to make sure that we stay on sound fiscal footing so we never lose those AAA bond ratings, because those literally save the taxpayers millions of dollars over time.
That's great. Now, I would just like to go back to the parks because that's one of my favorite topics. And I was reading here on a promotion piece called the Mayor's Minute. And our 6th new park, Quail Hollow, adjoins Hawley Creek. Combined, this creates more than 190 acres along the Chattahoochee near the Abbott's Bridge Road, Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area. That has to be a paradise.
So, Lou, I mean, what's amazing about this is if you start at Abbott's Bridge and you go north along the river, you start at the U.S. Park Service's land there at Abbott's Bridge. You then touch the Cauley Creek property that we acquired. From the Cauley Creek property, you touch the Quail Hollow property. From the Quail Hollow property, you touch the Cauley Creek property. You cross Rogers Trail, which leads to Rogers Bridge over the Chattahoochee River that we're restoring, and just north of the bridge, you come to another 47 acres of National Park Service land. And then if you skip a couple of properties, you're at another U.S. Park Service property. So we are very, very close to being able to create a contiguous greenway all the way from McGinnis Ferry down to Abbott's Bridge Road. No matter what, we're guaranteed now to be able to get from that U.S. Park Service land right there at Rogers Bridge all the way to Abbott's Bridge as soon as we build out that trail. And that is truly going to be a crown jewel in our portfolio of parks.
I know that ever since the first time you were on the show, about 4 or 5 years ago, you talked about parks and how important that was to you as a goal. So congratulations on
we
all
can
your
check the box.
success.
Goal achieved. We're not done yet. We still have more parks to buy because we have other areas of the city that are still underserved. But at the end of the day, I think that if I'm gone tomorrow, the one thing I can say is adding 200 acres of parkland to our portfolio, that is a lifetime achievement, and it will live forever for the citizens of Johns Creek. So I'm very, very proud of that.
Yeah, congratulations, Mike.
Thank you.
I admire the work that you've done there, and I know your citizens are very grateful for the work that you've done. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back. I'm Lou Whelan. We're sitting here with the mayor of Johns Creek, Mike Bodker. And if you missed any of the show, it's on my website, AtlantaCommunityProfiles.com, without commercial interruption. And I noticed on your website that you have a photograph of the City Hall, temporary City Hall. Tell us a little bit about the plans for that development.
So we bought a 6.5 acre tract with a 1980s 3-story building on it, and we had planned on that. We plan on that becoming our permanent city hall after a good remodeling. So we're actually going to expand the building on the back and a little bit on the front, and we're going to create a brand new city hall out of an old structure, and we'll eventually see what happens with the rest of the parcel. We're lucky that it's right there on our 20-acre linear park, and there's some land all around it. And I think that one of the big questions that I'm asked all the time is what's going to happen as far as a downtown for Johns Creek. And it is my hope that on the right scale, more on the scale of, let's say, a Swanee or a Duluth, that we would build a smallish downtown on the acreage in and around our linear park and our city hall. Nothing magnificent, nothing huge, nothing tall, something that really fits within the character of our community. And our city hall, I think, will become a centerpiece of that, as will the linear park, that will attract lots of economic development there, and hopefully over time, potentially a properly scaled redevelopment of Tech Park.
Okay. So you mentioned an interesting topic there, economic development. Tell us a little bit about the commercial aspect of Johns Creek, some of the companies that are in there. I know you have several major corporations.
We do. I think our big recent win was Ebix centralizing in Johns Creek. Of course, we've got Emory Johns Creek Hospital, which has been a magnet for the healthcare industry. We have a lot of healthcare-related businesses. Of course, the very first business to get to Johns Creek, for all intent and purposes, was back then called Ciba Vision. Today it is a division of Novartis. It's called Alcon. And Johns Creek is home to probably most of the contact lenses either beginning or finishing in the world. And we're still proud of that. It's kind of an odd thing to have such a incredibly sophisticated manufacturing plant in the middle of a residential community. And then we've got other sundry businesses, a lot of them around services. We're not really what I would call a manufacturing mecca. You don't see a lot of 18-wheelers pulling through Johns Creek. We're not an industrial kind of community. And so we've identified 6 industry segments that are very much really just recognizing what we're already attracting to Johns Creek. And our economic development arm, Johns Creek Advantage, is very focused on implementing our economic development plan. We have a strategic economic development plan that the council passed, and we're very focused on trying to attract more of those 6 target industries to Johns Creek so that we can grow reasonably our economic base and create local jobs so that our citizens don't have to travel so far to go to work.
The local jobs are pretty high-paying jobs. They're really
they are. We are not full of low-paying jobs. I can tell you that. Even our manufacturing plant workers at Alcon are making very, very good money. It's not a job that one would look away from if they could make that kind of money.
So the people will live in Johns Creek. You know, I know in Cumming and other cities, there's a lot of difference in daytime and nighttime.
I think we do have a difference between our daytime population and our nighttime population. Some of it is by choice. Folks may want to live closer to town. The other reason is some workers honestly can't afford to live in Johns Creek. Our houses are not cheap. Our land values are not low. And again, a lot of that is driven by the fact that we really do have these great schools and lots of people want to live there and only so many people can live there at once. And it drives the prices up. Mm-hmm. That's a good thing if you happen to own a home in Johns Creek. It's even a better thing if you're selling one.
Yeah, your prices have doubled almost since 2012. Almost, not quite double, but 80% increase since the low.
Of course, you say that, and I bought my house in 1999, and actually the last day of '98. And when I bought that house, we a few years later went into the Great Recession, and I'm just now getting back to where it was back in the days when I bought it. So,
really, in 1999?
Yeah. So wow. It's not quite there yet. I think we're starting. We're certainly increasing, and I think over time I have all the faith that as long as these schools remain as great as they are, so will the land values in Johns Creek.
Well, the people who bought houses in Johns Creek in like 2005 and 6.
Well, they got the advantage of the recession.
And then if you bought a house in 2011, 12, even 10, you've made a lot of money on your.
That's good. I guess I was never really good at real estate purchases because I only bought it because I wanted to make sure my kids were in the schools. So I'm not planning on selling anytime soon.
Your population is around 85,000.
Give or take. We would probably say 83,000.
83,000. It's hard to guess. The latest official count is 2010, which
right.
is nothing near. You've been growing quite a bit. Your growth has been fantastic, really, since the last census of 2010. So.
But again, that growth is not really a reflection of much else except for the fact that folks just really want to live in Johns Creek because they really want their kids to get a great education. That's the one common thing that really binds Johns Creek citizens.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Lou.
Mayor. It's always a pleasure. And thank you for your contributions to the community. You've done a spectacular job.
Well, Lou, considering the huge paycheck that us elected officials make, and I say that tongue-in-cheek because it's certainly we're not doing it for the money, it really is a labor of love. I have really appreciated and have been humbled by the opportunity that the citizens of Johns Creek have afforded me, and I'm very proud of what we've been able to accomplish as a city, and I'm even more proud of the fact that I've been able to extend some of that leadership to our region, to our state, and to our nation, again, all to bring benefits back to my local city.
Thank you for your service to the community, Mayor. We appreciate it very much. And now stay tuned for Dr. Bill Williams, Chairman and CEO of Swanee Dental Care, our dental health expert.